Hey, if you're wanting to take your lifestyle to the next step, your performance in work and your even your workouts and life up that next layer, you're gonna have to consider looking at high performance living. Now, high performance living is looking at the environment that you're in, looking at your boundaries, looking at your rules, looking at what's coming in and what's going out on your day to day, nutrition, training, sleep, people, boundaries, rules, all of these variables. And once you can control those variables, it'll be much easier for you to manage that high performance living or that performance. When I took on the role of a lot of clients a couple of years ago, there's a period in time where you transfer all of your energy as a giving person because you're working as an online PT into giving as much as you can for your clients at the detriment of yourself. And whilst at the time it looks absolutely fantastic, and for me it was very rewarding to see me putting effort into these individuals, but then also then stepping away from that laptop and being completely dead to the world. There's a period of time that I managed it. I managed it for upwards of 2 to 3 years, where I had very little time off, wasn't really able to disconnect from the world, didn't really have any boundaries, really struggled to have a life outside of online coaching or running away. Either one, it was either running away, traveling, or I was stuck into work and doing that 10 to 20 to 12 hours a day. And when I took a step back and broke, when you push so hard, at some point physiology or psychology will kick back at you because the challenge is too difficult for you to sustain. And for me, it was one of those moments where I broke both physically and mentally with the capacity that I had, and I hadn't took a backward step. We have to take training, we have to take our living and our lifestyle very similar to how we do our training. You progressively overload over a period of time, and then you deload to wash off fatigue and you go again. But fortunately, not many people consider that in their day-to-day lives, their boundaries, their rules, the people that they have, the nutrition, all of these variables that will come into crux with everything that you do. So I developed high performance living, which is a set of things that you need to consider daily, or you should consider daily, if you're wanting to stay on top of your overwhelm, your burnout, your performance, and the factors that you really are conscious about and can control. So the high performance living is an element that we put to our coaching practice through the MVP model, in where you monitor what takes you over the edge. What is it that you do, or the signs and symptoms that you have when you overreach too far? For me, my sleep goes, my food goes, and I start getting really spotty around the face. When I start breaking out loads and I've pushed my work intensity without a week off or a couple of days off away from the laptop for like 10 to 12 weeks, that's when I start to feel these factors. So once you know your factors, you can then start placing deloads of your lifestyle around those variables, whether it's less screen time, less work, more rest, less training. And because you're monitoring all of these variables in your living, you're looking at like your phone consumption, how many hours you're on your phone, your routines and your structures, how much you're training, how much you're lifting, how much you're eating, how much you're sleeping, how much are you managing your stress and your digestion. All of these variables that we'll consider high performance in lifestyle. When you cultivate those together, you're able to blend this living in harmony towards feeling better for the most part, knowing when to back off and knowing when to push, being able to manage the variables so you feel great daily doing the thing that you love, and then being able to channel all of that through purpose, through your goals, and hitting it both physically but also from a work perspective, from a performance management perspective. When I took a step back and I started monitoring these variables, when I started looking at that, am I ready to push mentally? Are my goals physically aligning with that of my mental goals, my performance goals? And when you match your own goals of lifting as well as your business goals, things start to skyrocket. When you start controlling your phone intake in the mornings and the evenings, and you start controlling the rules that you have around how many, what you eat, when you eat it, who you let into your day, who you let into your week, how much alcohol you drink, all of these variables that for some may be too far to kind of monitor, and that's okay. But if you're really wanting to get that upper echelons of high performance, and you're wanting to get the upper echelons of like controlling the variables that you have to play, then this high performance living is something that you need to consider. If you can monitor not going into burnout all of the time whilst you're giving to everybody, it's a no-brainer. So if you're wanting to look out and map out the whole of your controllable variables. What time you go to sleep, what time you wake up, the boundaries you have with your phone intake, your alcohol consumption, your food intake, your training, your digestion, your sleep, all these variables that will be controllable by you, and start optimizing them one by one. And once you get to that point where you've optimized what it's like from physically and mentally to be in a great place, you'll be able to then monitor those redlining signals to know when to push. If you're feeling burnt out and you're emitting these redlinings, it's time to pull back. If you're not feeling these signs and symptoms and you're feeling mentally on top of the world, push on, crack on, break the mold, go through challenging times, push yourself to a new dimension. And then once you break, or when you then just about to break by those redlining symptoms come back, you then pull back and then you have a week off and then you go again. And that is high performance living.